GM, today in Q42 Talk with a founder, we are going to discuss about AI and data, two very hot topics for 2025. So we all hear that data is the new gold. In crypto, data is open source, but it looks like very few projects leverage that data, and this is why data AI jumps in. Today, I'm with the founder of data AI, Eli. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you are the founder of Data AI. Let's jump back, but first thing first, our latest news with Q42. So we currently have an airdrop on Q42 with Hermetica project, Bitcoin project, USDT, kind of on Bitcoin. So stablecoin on Bitcoin. Go check it out. Very interesting and very interesting project. So let's start with what is Data AI? So we can guess with the name. And what pain are you solving in Web3?
Sure. So data is a data layer that is here to simplify on-chain data and make it actionable. So there are a lot of data provider today on the market. What they mainly do, they go and they fetch data by analyzing event, by indexing information, and they provide it to the user. But if you look at the end user, they don't really want to understand event. They don't want to understand transactions. They want to understand behavior. They want to understand insights about what the user did, where do they come from. And this is how those developers or dApps, they can start building more intelligent data instead of just focusing, how do I clean that data? How do I bring it from one chain and another chain? How do I create one data layer that can provide me all this information? So data is here to index data, structure data, make it more intelligent, and provide it to our end customers. So we'll go through each level of those layers. Yeah, but that's the overarching idea behind data.
So I'm a project. I have a lot of data from on-chain or like any data from like my user activity.
Yeah.
I can go like to that AI and ask you to how do I store this data? How do I make it more intelligent? Is it what you're doing?
Yes, partly yes. So for example, today when we speak with CMOs that are like a CMO of a DApp, that's the best example because if they come from Web 2 and they start working in Web 3, they really don't know how to operate. Because in Web 2, you have Google Analytics, you have a lot of tools that are explaining to you where your users are coming from, what they did before they came. And you can install cookie, you can understand their behavior. They came from Twitter, they came from this campaign, they came from this ad, and you can analyze what is providing you with this those visit and conversion. Now take the
And
same
and,
example. Yeah.
and why? So I really like the Web2 analogy here because
Yeah.
we all know that all the
Yes,
GAFAM are only about data. That data
exactly.
is the gold.
Yeah.
And I never hear about data in crypto. Like I feel very few projects are talking about it. So are they using it like behind the scene? What's happening? And why do you think that's the case? That is it so hard to deal with data in Web3, and why we have so few protocols like leveraging that data?
Yeah. So here I would like to mention something that uh, when they ask me like, what do you solve? The problem I'm solving is the transparency paradox. So the data is here, the data is available, but it's very hard to explain it. And when we started in the data space a while ago, when we were pitching to client and we're pitching for fundraise activities and so on, people they were not understanding because they were saying, okay, but the data is here. So, and my answer is, how do you fetch it? The data is here. Yes, okay, transactions are here. Go to a scanner, fetch the data. Connect to an RPC, fetch the data. What do you see? Numbers. What those numbers they tell you? There's not even pricing. Like if you fetch data from an RPC node today, you don't have the price of the asset that you
Hmm.
transacted. So you need a pricing model. Okay. And then you need to understand with who you're interacting with. And you need to understand what the user did. How do you fetch all those data? Because if you don't have them, they're just random number. Today, why do you use a scanner?
Yeah, that's the thing, you know.
No,
I'm so
no,
frustrated. I'm
today
so
the scanner
frustrated.
is a very good technology. It's very good, but why anyone today in the crypto space, I mean, not someone into data and analyzing, why do they use a scanner? Just to prove to someone that they made the payment, right? Like other than this, there's no use,
Yeah.
right?
No, I mean, on my side, you know, honestly, I'm using like scanners like all time,
Yes,
like
of
if
course.
scan, base scans. But the
Yeah,
thing is that I think you're mentioning a good point here is like I think since 4 years, I'm using those like way to like get the data like the same way. Like I haven't find like a new platform where like I can, for example, like enter like an address and get like information about those traders. So we have few ones now, but they
yes.
are more like to analyze things. But I don't know, they are even harder to use, you know, that than if scan, for example.
We had a lot of innovation coming in 2022 after the DeFi boom. But all the technology and all what has been built is to analyze market data because this is where the money lies, right? And it's there. So we take one pool, we analyze who interacted with this pool, and we tell like who's the biggest contributor to a pool. But what this user is doing outside of this pool, not a lot of people are analyzing it or understanding it. Like, okay, so this big whale is exposed to that pool, which other pool they're exposed to, and where they're adding their liquidity, or they added their liquidity and now they close it. I mean, as a trader, if I am exposed to a pool, I would like to know the people that are in that pool, what are they doing somewhere else, right? And no one is providing you this information because you need to understand all the smart contracts that are linked into other activities like lending, borrowing, bridging, NFT minting, staking, and so on. And this is where we come after a long time of of fetching manual data. We will go through it, fetching manual data, organizing it, and building on top of it. This is where we come in to say, today we are the only company that is able to profile a user, to understand a behavior, and to say this behavior of this wallet is similar to the behavior of this wallet. And companies like chain analysis, they do it in terms of interactions with other wallet or at what time do you trade and so on, but not on the smart contract level. And we only focus on the smart contract level.
Okay, so this is where like because for me like it's a good company you mentioned like Chainalysis. I think they are OG
Yes.
in the space.
Yes.
They are very well known to track like all the I think ZagXBT and Chainalysis, and then I
Yes.
don't have any other names. So you are more focused on the smart contract level.
Yes.
So
So
what does it mean? What does it mean?
we do not we don't care or we don't push it to understand who's behind the wallet. So, for example, a very good company like Arkham Intelligence, they're doing a chain analysis, they know exactly who's behind each wallet. For us, is we have a wallet, what the wallet has been interacting with. So, for example, you have 100 transactions, just to make it simple. How much of those 100 are DeFi? Let's say 30%. Okay. From those 30%, how much are into adding liquidity, staking, lending, and borrowing? How do you allocate your portfolio? And it's not only about where you are today, because if you want to understand where you are today, you just go to DBank. You put your wallet or Zerion, they provide you with all your positions. But what if you close the position and you added like a million into a liquidity pool? You made some gain, you close it, now you have 1,000. And then the same wallet, goes to a protocol and started adding liquidity. I mean, this wallet was a millionaire at some point. So I cannot treat it as a small wallet that is coming with $100. It's a millionaire wallet. So if I want to uh, incentivize people to stake more or to add liquidity, even if he doesn't, even if this wallet doesn't have the million today, it was a millionaire. So they can come with another wallet or with the same wallet or transfer wallet fund between their wallets and provide the same liquidity that they provided a while ago.
Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so basically the whole infrastructure you have built is mainly towards getting like being like connected to all these data sets that are like on chain and everywhere, and then being able to like understand, like I would say, second layer of like data that are like from smart contracts and everything. Because like
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, like the data like that, for example, you have from just like basic like transfers or like buy sell are very easy to deal with, right? But
Yes.
like smart contracts are way harder to deal with.
Exactly. And to be honest, like we didn't. It was not like the North Star that from the beginning when we started in data, we said we want to profile users. It was not at all the idea. We started as a DeFi portfolio tracker. So
Mhm.
we're doing exactly what DBank was doing. The difference is that we were focusing on the history of your DeFi transactions. In a way that we are able to understand if you close the position and you generated yield, we are able to extract this. So we index all the event and we're able to calculate profit and loss. So this is how we started. Our main focus was crypto accountant and crypto funds. Do you want to understand where your user were a while ago, like the 31st of December? You put your wallet, we fetch all their DeFi position and the yield. Even if the position is closed today, back then it was open, we will tell you what was the liquidity. And then bit by bit, we started understanding that those same clients, they were having issues by understanding transactions, especially the tax companies. The tax company, they need to understand every action that a user did.
Mm.
So what do? They take their phone, they call the client. What you did here, what you did here. And they have internal team just connecting to scanners and analyzing what the smart contract is, what the user did here. And it was taking a lot of time. So they came to us, they
Definitely.
said, okay, you know all the interaction with DeFi. And not, of course, not all DeFi. Like anyone can create a DeFi protocol, can fork the protocol,
Mm.
can put it tomorrow on chain, and good luck to understand what this protocol is doing, right? So we started with a set of smart contract, a catalog of smart contract that was known, and we said, how can we move? We had back then, I think, 80,000 smart contract that was categorized. How can we move from 80,000 smart contract to millions of smart contract that are similar to the ones that we have? And this is where we started building a model on top of that data. And if you ask me, what is the most difficult part? It's not the model. Anyone can build the model. Searching this data manually and making sure that it's 100% reliable, this is what makes the model intelligent and more intelligent with time. So we're launching an LLM now in Q1 because we have aggregated a lot of data. And if you ask me, tomorrow there is something new. I don't know, like we hear about uh, science fi, let's say.
Mm.
Yeah, so we saw the big launch on Binance, and I don't remember the name of the company. It did well, right? Are we able to understand sci-fi smart contract? No.
Mm.
Even if we have the most intelligent model, we cannot do it. Why? Because we need a set of science-fi smart contract to understand how they're built, how people they interact with them, and try to map them into our model. So then when our model goes and check new smart contract, we can say, okay, they're behaving the same way as the one that we have already labeled. So we label it with a probability that it might be a science. And every new innovation or every new type of smart contract that is coming on chain, it needs manual.
Yeah, for sure. To label the data and everything. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's very close to quant trading. So I like
Yeah.
what you are mentioning here.
Yeah.
So I would say if I recap, the main thing is like all this data. How can we make sure like you are connected to all the data? And of course, all the time this data like is active, like it's always changing.
Yes.
So it's evolving with time. And how can you make sure that by building some models like AI models, and then having like some, I would say, human intervention to like make sure the new data getting the pipeline like has the right form and everything, you can have something that is always more intelligent and smarter, right?
Yes. I mean, I can give you some data points just to understand like how big is the problem that we're trying to tackle. Only in like, we did this analysis until November of 2024. There were more than 600 chains. What does it mean? Like not all of them are EVM, which means like
Mm.
not all of them, they behave the same way. So not all the smart contracts are the same format. So you're dealing with a data set that is very different from one chain from another. So if you want to understand it and make a model on top of it, you need to unify it. This is one.
Mm.
Second thing, only in 2024, like Jan until November, 8 million smart contracts were deployed. And I think with the AI agent, even more now with pump.fun, of course, like we didn't take them into account. And I'm not sure if I'm mistaken, but I think between 60 and 70 billion transactions happened in 2024. So,
Yeah, I think.
I mean, we're speaking about 1/3 of what Visa processed.
Mm.
But the difference is that Visa, they know all the retailers.
Yeah,
And
of
they
course, of
know
course.
what.
Yeah, the databases, the
Yes,
scheme of the databases is like made and not moving. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. So here, I mean, you have a new retailer that is opening up. They don't need the approval of Visa. They take a card, whatever, like a smart contract, and people they can start paying, adding liquidity, removing, interacting with those smart contracts. And if you want to analyze their behavior, you need to understand what those smart contracts are.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I think I like the Visa like
Yeah.
comparison, like because the databases looks very simple when you move to crypto and you have Solana that is
Yes.
part of the databases, and when you go like deeper, like on Solana, you have so many things. And
Yes.
like, what makes you different than any other like data provider, or like what is your edge basically?
Yeah. So I'll answer to the question in two parts. So first, on the indexation part, because we are a decentralized infrastructure that is indexing. Indexers it's a very good technology that was created in Web3. They helped a lot for people to better fetch data, but not to better understand that data. So for example, if we take the graph, which is an amazing technology, we use a lot of the graph technology in our indexers. And we compare it to the graph and other indexation technology, they work like Google 10 years or 15 years ago, where if you would go to Google and ask them, how old is Cristiano Ronaldo? It will give you all the links for the age of Cristiano Ronaldo, all the links that are mentioning his age. And it's up to you to go and to find the right information. Some link might be not true, providing wrong information. Some other link, they might provide good information. We are operating like Google today, where if you would go on Google and ask, how old is Cristiano Ronaldo? It will tell you 39 years old. So this is the layer of intelligence that is being built on top of index data. So this is where we will start building a data logic on top of index data and simplifying the task for developers that are building intelligent application, AI agent, complex application. They don't need to go into the event to understand what's happening, and they just need to query some basic information from you. Like, was this trader a millionaire or no? Do they have more than 20% of their transaction into DeFi? Yes. Did they make more than 500 transactions on Aerodrome base? Yes or no? Those are very valuable information if you want to start making a recommendation, if you want to start understanding their behavior for marketing agencies, for a chain to understand like what the users are doing exactly. And this is the type of data that we are providing compared to just giving like token balances or DeFi positions, which are the basic of what we are building. So of course we use them, but we build on top of that.
Okay, very interesting. And you mentioned agents. I think we
Yeah.
can't miss it in crypto right now because it's the hottest thing.
Yeah.
What's your take on agent? Like, because I feel crypto hasn't reached the maturity level where we like leverage all this data. That's why I'm very bullish on that AI, right? But
Yeah.
it's not a financial advice, just my opinion. So do you think like agents will like evolve quite a lot because we'll have new data sets? And like, what's your take on that? You know data better than we do. So give us some insights.
Yes. So there is one client. In fact, in November of last year, we started working with people, mainly wallets, building AI agents. and we started to better understand their needs and how much it's difficult to get this intelligent data. And this client, he told me, like, your agent is as intelligent as the data that you feed it. So if you feed it, I mean, a bunch of data that you don't understand, the output will be not relevant, right? And this is
I like
where
it.
and this is where we come in. And speaking a bit about agent, AI agent, and I think some people they make the mistake of saying that, thinking that an AI agent is an LLM. An AI agent is not an LLM. So an AI agent is first an autonomous system. It means that it can make decisions independently. Second, it's an agency, so they can act and take decision. And finally, they can self-enhance themselves. So taking those three, independency, agency, and
Just to interrupt you,
self-enhancement. Yeah.
I think this what you mentioned here are like three main points of what's the difference between a bot and an agent. Because I
Yes.
tend to say that to people,
Yeah.
an agent is just like a better bot, you know.
Yeah.
So I think you framed it a proper
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
And the whole idea is for that agent is to solve uh, uh, solve a complex problem and to enhance itself. Because without this enhancement, it cannot it's not an agent for me. So what are the components of the agent? So the agent needs data, needs reliable data, and this is where we come in. So this is the data feed. It needs the control system, and the control system is not the LLM. The control system is, okay, if I take, for example, Llama, or I take OpenAI, and I wanted to adapt to Web3 data, what do I need to understand? Do I need to understand the volatility of the asset that I'm using? Do I need to understand the APY, the return of the pool that I'm interacting with? And finally, it's the learning and the control system that is enhancing itself and using the data and using this decision making. And once you have all those components, this is where you start having an AI agent. So most of the AI agent today are still in basic. It's mainly chat.
They are KOLs, let's say.
Yeah. But I see a lot of developer, because we are providing data for those agents, and we see a lot of good tools that will change the behavior of everyone that is trading in Web3. Because the more you feed it intelligent data, the more it can take better decision. It has a broader view that you as a human, even with a bot, would take a lot of time to understand it, to absorb it,
For sure.
and it can enhance itself. Like, we human evolve, but not as fast as machines.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, not to leak an alpha and like to shield, you know, that AI, because not a financial advice and everything, but I think I'm way more bullish on that AI now that we have all this agent way. Because for now we only have like KOL agents, but I think people will understand that we can have agent in gaming, agent in DeFi, agent
Yeah.
in trading, and all these kind of things. And I think it's just getting started. And the core thing I would say is data, you know. And I think that's
Yes.
the thing, is like we always go back to data at some point. And you know, I do a lot of quant trading, and you know, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Without data, you can't do anything. And processing
Yeah.
the data, like organizing it, storing it, and then making it like understandable for algorithm or like for agents is you add a lot of value. You know,
Yeah. And
that's
an agent. So when you start giving recommendation, because you mentioned trading, right? Like, you can a fund. So if you take a fund and you take a random guy like me, for example, if we both want to trade, we will trade very differently. Our risk return is very different. Our entry size ticket is very different. And the same AI agent needs to understand, where do I come from and what I did in the past, and adapt the strategies that is going to propose to me based on my profile. But how do you get this profile?
yeah,
It's by
for sure.
understanding your previous actions.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I think I'm really looking forward this year to get like so many innovation,
Yeah.
on like with those agents, because for now I'm frustrated because we only have like a KOL agent, but I think it will change.
But I think
Um,
as a quant, you should build your own agent.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
have honestly that I think I'm doing agents since like 6 years now. It's just
yeah,
like it was not called that way or whatsoever,
yeah,
but we have things internally, and that's why also like I think we anticipated quite a lot this like wave of agents to invest in like bunch of agent protocol like gaming related, DeFi related, because we think it has a lot of added value, and they are more than bots, because when we were
yeah,
starting like investing in agents like 1 year ago, people like or like other VCs were saying I don't understand, it's like bot, but no, it's not.
yeah.
And like perhaps to end up on a question, because I think founders will watch the whole interview. What advice would you give them to them regarding like how can they leverage the data that they have from the application and also like on chain? What
Yeah.
should they do? How to start with and have like a small, I would say, roadmap?
Um, so first, look at what insight genuinely matters for your product and your community. And working in data for a while now, I would like to differentiate between insight and action. So you can provide a lot of insight for someone, but what do I do with it? Right? Like you sell your data because we learn from failing, right? So you go and you build the most complicated, um, insightful data, and you sell it to a fund. Okay, they have it, they look at it, they show it to their C-levels. What do we do with it? It's a nice to have, right? When this data becomes actionable, so for example, when I'm giving you information about who's the biggest customer that is not adding the most TVL to your DApp, but is adding TVL to a competitor, this is an actionable data. Because the next time they will connect, you will pump their reward and you will steal that liquidity and you will tell them to put the liquidity because you will give them a lot of reward, or create a staking pool specifically for them because you know that they can provide a lot of TVL. This is an actionable insight. But telling you that this user is a DeFi trader, maybe it's not enough. What do I do with it, right? Like, so first for founders, like understand what is not vanity metric for you and what are the actionable information that you need. And we help companies work on their data strategy and providing them with their data. And second, make sure you have the right architecture in terms of data. Data in Web3 is like not in Web2. And in Web2, for example, agent, not AI agent, but just agents to fetch, to scrap the web and to store them and to make uh, good information out of them are much simpler because on Twitter, you can understand the English, on Reddit, on Telegram, which means that this data is understandable. So you just need less data than what you need in Web3 that is not understandable to make more of that data. And once you set up your architecture, we're here to take all this load. You don't need to store the data on your servers. You don't need to analyze it on your servers. We have a very big infrastructure. We're working with the big guys in terms of data infrastructure. So we process the data and we just give you what you need, like the type of data that you need without. Because we see a lot of companies, they're on their RPC, they're on their archive node, they fetch the transaction. Do you really need to do this? I mean, the people that are starting to realize, no, it's an extra cost. I can outsource this.
Okay, makes sense. That's pretty insightful. Thanks a lot. I don't want it to make it too long.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ellie, for your time. I think now we have a better understanding of what you are building
Yes.
and why data matters, and also like the future of agents. So was very insightful. Thanks a lot, and you will have all the link, of course, guys. Like subscribe, like not subscribe, but like likes, retweet, go follow that AI and everything.
Yeah.
And see you soon for another episode.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Bye bye.